Yeah, Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo, welcome to Wyatt, and I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grrr, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. Hey, my listeners, to all my YouTubers out there, if you like what you see, subscribe. All you gotta do is go to the bottom right of your screen and just click it. Click it. I love to click it. Yeah. My listeners, let me tell you something. This is my first video show. Yeah, it really is. And I've got a real treat for y'all today. I've got this panel. I call it Wyatt's Manly Men panel. We got these 3 distinguished brothers and myself, and we're going to give our opinions, our take, and they're provocative, they're grown-ass about very, very important issues that impact gay and SGL men. Yes. This is going to be enjoyable. So let's get started. All right, now let's welcome to Wyatt's Manly Men. This is my first video, so hopefully I will not screw this up. That's why I selected these wonderful gentlemen. Now, let's see who we got. We have Tancredo Buff. He's that blazing hot, uber popular adult entertainer with one hell of a fan base. Yes. Now, I'm doing this alphabetically. Then we've got Mr. James Butler. He's a writer. He's an activist. He's a force in the primo force in the Bear Big Boy community. He's founded both the Big Boy Project and the Bear Network. And we also have Mr. Hartsel Shirley, successful writer and columnist. His Heartstrings column is with WyattEvans.com, very popular. He's a singer, he's a songwriter. So I have selected these primo manly men for my first video. Now, let's get into it. Here's the first issue. You ready?
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm.
How important is oral sex to you? Okay. I mean, is it a deal breaker in your dating and your relationships? Because frankly, for me, I got to have my knob spit polished. I've got to have my thing waxed. Wow. That's important to me. It's religion. So, okay, who wants to jump in first on that? Oh my God.
Okay, everybody jump.
Woo,
I can tell you that, yes, for me it's important because if I could say it's the prelude of all the things that comes after that. But it also is the kind of appreciate with the person that you are. It's very important for me.
Wait a minute, let's dig down a little bit deeper into that, Mr. Buff, Mr. Primo Adult Entertainer. Let's dig a little deeper into that. Hartsel can't wait to jump into this, but, and James too. But come on, Mr. Buff, tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it's simply that when you are with somebody that you love, and no matter what, and you want to, if I could say, appreciate of who is him or who he looks, and you go for it. You have a very nice member there. You would like to worship it as well, that you would like yours to be worshipped too. That's the good thing about Verso, the guys. And they, if they love it, I think they fortify the love between one or the other, or at least the appreciation between one or the other, because you know that this is also part of what happened when we have encounters, those encounters. But when it comes to love somebody, yes, it's important. It's good to appreciate what you have in your hands.
Okay, Hartsel, jump in here.
I would say it's very important as well. It's one of those almost ultimate acts of intimacy. Yeah, it's
Ah,
and the way that you do it or it's done to you also can heighten and intensify the appreciation, as Tancredo was saying. Um, how much care you put into it, how long you take, what specifically you do as you're doing it. It's can be extremely pleasurable and addictive.
Yes.
okay, Mr. James Butler, what say you?
I mean, I guess it's less complicated because sex sometimes can be complicated. You're busy,
Yes.
you got work and stuff like that. Sometimes you can't, well, if you're a bottom, can't clean out every day. It's easy access. So yes, it's definitely a something I have to have. Give it and receiving.
Okay, Tancredo, do you prefer being on the receiving end of it or giving?
I You put me in a very tough situation
I
because I
know.
like to be I like to be in both position.
That's
When
cool.
I like when somebody does to me, especially now that
Okay.
I'm married. Uh, you feel the love and the satisfaction,
Okay.
and when I give it, I try to do my best. You
I'm
know,
sure you do. Hartzell, do you prefer being on the receiving end or giving?
There was a time when I preferred being on the giving end because I was kind of methodical with it and I knew what I could do to someone, and I liked the reactions that I got, and they were always good reactions. But now I prefer to be on the receiving end, just so I can experience what I gave to folks.
Okay, James.
For me, both. I mean, I was the same way, mostly giving, because like you said, no, I like to see pleasure in people's places and stuff like that. Plus, like I see myself more of a submissive person anyway, like a laid back submissive person. So
Me receiving. Now we'll
Hmm.
move on to another issue.
no, we were not. Why only receiving?
No. I like
Mm-hmm.
I like both, but admittedly, I prefer being on the receiving end. I truly do. But I want to make my partner happy, so I like doing it. But I have to admit that I like to lay back and
mm,
be on the receiving end.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit of
uh
Look,
laziness for me.
huh.
look, I don't want any letters. I don't want any letters. Don't write me about this stuff. Okay, Mr. Butler. I'm gonna move on to issue number 2. Okay, here we go. Let's say, gentlemen, you're in a relationship, a committed relationship, right? Should you put your partner or should you put your family first? Why? Why not?
That depends on what stage of a relationship you're in my
Mm.
opinion. I
Uh-huh.
mean, if you're married, then yes, your partner come first because you, made a ceremony to, did the whole ceremony to your partner. You say you're gonna love them, treat them, and put them first. So yeah, your partner. Now, if you just beginning dating, then a family comes first because you never know if you're gonna be with that partner for a long time or not. So
Me in this stage, my husband come first. He is my family. He is
Uh-huh.
part of the family. I have his last name. He has my last name.
Cool.
So he's my family. Period. I can't make that distinction right now. Other members of the family, well, maybe they not look at it as it is. Yeah, I still have, coming from Puerto Rico, that they still have kind of mentality that they haven't, they think that they still living in the 40s and the 50s sometimes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it comes a situation, and I could share it with all of you, that when 2 years ago, my father passed away,
Oh,
and
man.
we were dealing with some issues, economical issues. And when it comes to ask me about monetary arrangement, all the stuff, I said, I have to consult with my husband, because he is my husband,
Right.
is my family, and also has a say in any kind of decisions I'm making.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Hartzell, what about you?
Um, like James was saying, it depends on where the relationship is, but I've never been one to really consult my family when it comes to my intimate partners in the first place. I don't have to meet their parents. They don't have to meet mine. I don't care about that at all. But
Same.
if it's a really serious and committed relationship, then that is my family. That's the person that I'm going to bed with. That's the person I'm seeing more constantly than family.
Yes.
Right.
So family is important, but I'll put it that way.
Well, you know what? I really agree with you too, because if I'm in a committed relationship, um, my partner has to come first. You know, you see these crazy talk shows where, the family members, the couple has been married for many years. The family members are still inserting
Hmm.
themselves into the relationship. And, the other person just doesn't seem to understand why the other person has a problem with that.
Hmm.
But when you
Yes.
are in a committed relationship, even though we are gay SGL men, it's still like a marriage. To me, anyway, it's still like a
It
marriage,
is.
and that partner has to come
Right.
first.
But now with same sex illegal, give it like another notch in the part of the legal part of a relationship.
Hmm.
And that's what it said in my case. My family is my husband.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Issue number 3. Now, this is from Mr. Shirley. This is Mr. Shirley's question. Here we go. Okay, here we are. There are many terms used to identify ourselves and our sexuality. Which terms do you not like, you find offensive, or you would never use to identify yourself? So, Hartzell,
Yes.
since this is your
Yeah.
question, I think you should answer it first.
Okay, my pleasure. Okay, so I know that I've noticed that there's a lot of younger folks who have no problem saying the word queer or identifying as queer. I have a big problem with that because, especially being a writer, queer to me means strange, odd, and all that kind of stuff. So queer would not be a word I want to use. I'm also created with weird and stuff. So that's not going to work for me. Sissy and faggot are both extremely, extremely offensive and hurtful. And so those would not be words that I would ever, ever, ever use or want to be used in reference to me. Don't include me if you're in a group and say we're queer men. No, 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 no. You are a queer man. Speak for yourself.
Hmm.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
as a matter of fact, it was back in the late '90s when I was on America Online, and I met. I had conversation first. My very first conversation with Cleo Monago, who has come up with the term same gender loving. And
Mhm.
at first when I saw SGL, and I was like in his profile, and I was like, oh, he's single, not knowing that SGL stood for same gender loving. But once we talked and I got an
Ah,
understanding, I was like, that's something that I'm actually much more comfortable with than gay.
got it.
Gay had to me at that time to me had too many connotations that had nothing to do with me.
Got it. What about you, James?
I agree. I mean, he pretty much said what I was going to going to say. But I understand why the younger generation use those terms because they're trying to reclaim them. You know, like reclaim them back and use them as a positive note for each other instead of as a negative connotation. So, yeah, like I said, I agree with everything you just said, pretty much.
All right, he copied that. What about you, Mr. Buff?
He said the word queer. Because of the connotation of queer is something strange. I am not something strange.
Right.
I'm a human being, a contributor, a voter.
Right.
And also, I don't like the word sissy in to try to describe somebody, because I have seen many young people that get really affected when they've been tried like sissy or like a faggot or fag or you know, but definitely queer is because I am not. I don't represent that word. I don't even like it when some organizations use it as a kind of chain link of LGBTQ using the Q. They said, why the Q? I don't feel myself, and I don't feel any lesbian, homosexual, male, even bisexuals or trans, like a something strange or out of the world.
Right.
We're humans.
Right.
Simply like that.
Well, you know what, gentlemen, I totally agree because I hate the word queer. Like Tancredo is saying, it connotes strange, weird, and I'm not like that. You know, when I was growing up, I was not really into sports. I was kind of the nerd, the bookish. So I got sissy all the time. I hate that.
Yep.
So just call me a gay or same gender loving male, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I said, it's a generational thing. What was used against us may not be used for the younger generation today.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, they're using those terms now for, you know, as repurpose the definition as to something positive to call each other. You know, in the LGBTQ community, we use those terms to call each other, you know, so like the N-word. I ain't gonna say it on here because I don't know if we can say it or not, you know.
Right.
But you know, the black community, you know, we can say it to each other, but we can't, but anybody outside of that can't say it. So like the terms, the queer or whatever, the terms like that, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like we can say it. And we can say it to each other because, but anyone outside of that can't say it.
But I think just like we're cognizant of when to or not to use the N-word, the younger folks who use queer ought to also be cognizant of their audience and not just loop all of us into that when they have to speak. Be a bit more conscientious and say something more enveloping than the popular term of the time.
Yes.
Well, that's a conversational thing. Because, like I said, what you say to your friend, let's say, what you can say to Wyatt, you may not can say to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all about communication between you and your friend group or you and your group in general.
Yes.
So.
Got it. Okay, the next issue. I like this question. It's by Mr. Butler. And here it is. Can a sitcom with an all-bear, all-big boy cast of color work in primetime TV? Okay, James, you asked the question, you answer it.
Okay. The reason why I brought up the question anyway, because of the show Pose. A lot of people didn't expect Pose to work, but it worked so good, so well.
Yes.
To me, yes, of course. Like I say, if you get the right team, the right writers, and don't use the stereotypes, you know, any stereotypes. I mean, you can, but if you use it in a intelligent way, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think the show will be great because it'd be different body sizes. We won't be seeing the same, what they call it, chisel cut,
Right.
And
32-inch waist.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Or like I said, and it's so much issues that we can address with that. Like,
you're right. Let me interject this.
Okay.
I'm senile because I'm getting older. So when thoughts pop in my head, I have to really say them quick.
Right.
You're absolutely correct because Tancredo and I always have this discussion about, for example, in porn, there is an audience for the men who don't have the washboard waist,
Right.
who are not super muscled, who are bigger men, the dad bod rather, the guy next door. And with all of the streaming possibilities now, because there is a voracious hunger for quality content, that would probably work.
Yeah,
Well,
like I say, I agree.
It happened that I think it's in Spain. There used to be a series about that. The old cast was about the life of these bear guys. I think I don't remember if the name was Ositos or something like that. I didn't get into watch it, but I know that a lot of people of my friends in Puerto Rico that has access to those Spanish channels have watched it, and I think it's available maybe in YouTube. I don't know, but it in the terms of bringing an all color cast, yes, it might work. We'll have to see not only what is the plot,
Right.
what they going want to develop, and see how is the cast, is the writers, and see how it works. It could work, but it's gonna depends on that points of the production. What's the plot is especially the plot. I not gonna sit down to watch a series to see the same thing that I don't know what history, positive, negative history it could have to bring in that type of series. Do you want to do it as a comedy? Do you want to do it as a drama? And that was one of the things that I like of Pose, because Pose give that balance of the drama of the time, plus those points that we know very well, like the reading that some of us know, and it really is something that's still working at this point in our lives.
Okay, Hartsel, you want to weigh in on this?
I am all for seeing Joe Next Door. My gosh, especially being here in Atlanta, I see
Knock, knock, knock.
right. I see so many guys, but the most guys who are most attractive to me are this brother who are sitting over here on the bus. Does not have to be built like a bodybuilder. I mean, my goodness, the boy next door is so attractive, and a show like that would actually help them know and bring them to the forefront and let them know that they are attractive, that they are desirable, and that you don't have to look like Schwarzenegger. You don't have to be built like Carl Weathers in Rocky to, although that was good.
Yeah, it was.
And he still looked good looking.
Yeah.
which lends also to older guys. As you mature, first of all, as you mature, the body just does things that it wants to do anyway, shape wise.
So true.
So, I would definitely be so. I'd be as attuned to a show with some regular regular mature looking men as I was to Pose.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I love me the thickness. Gotta have the thickness.
Yeah, and it's about time to bring
Yeah.
that type of character,
Yeah.
because you see in other series like happened with Queer as Folk and
Yes.
Looking,
Yes.
that we didn't see that type of person
Right.
included. Even the oldest person in the cast, it was this white guy, whitewashed,
Right.
and it makes look, if I could say, project to other people that the only white gay man is the only have exciting stories to
Right.
tell.
Right.
And I
Right.
think people of color and people Latin and people bear
Mhm.
of our type has a lot of stories to tell.
Yes.
Right.
Same
But let's be
stories.
fair. But let's be fair though. Noah's Ark didn't have that kind of reputation either.
Right.
And it was an all
Yeah.
black cast.
Right.
Yes, and my problem with Noah's Ark, even though that I know a lot of people like him very much, and it was something different, but there was a point in the plot that got me totally lost, and I couldn't follow the series. You know, some of the plots that were developed, I found it really ridiculous. They said
Right.
that's not a life of a black gay man. That's a white man life in a black body.
Mm.
Well, I with kind of getting off topic. With Noah's Ark, it was all about a time issue and money with them because new series at the time that was something brand new
Yes,
because we haven't seen that before
Right.
with an all color cast, and you
Right.
know, not to be shady, but you know, given an all color class, they're not gonna get the same budget as
Right.
Queer as Folk.
They didn't. That's true.
Oh, no,
So-
no.
Right.
So they had to work with what they had, and I wish they had the budget because I'm pretty sure
Yes.
it would have been a much better show. But it had to work with what it had to be fair. To be fair with the show, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want to bring it down too much because they had to work with what they got.
No, I didn't have any problem with the show except for some of the plot. Some of the plot, some of the story. I really like some of the story, but some of the other stories,
Right.
I would say like what they were thinking about. That's not
Right.
the real life of a gay man,
Right.
of a gay
Okay.
black man that I know. You know, it was like a kind of, I could say,
Like
Trap-
a Will and Grace kind of.
Willa Gracie. Yeah,
Well,
you know.
you could.
All
You
right.
could even, well, you could even go.
Go finish,
You could
Hartsel.
even go back to a show. I won't name it. That was popular on the major network. That was in a very big city on the Upper East Coast. That had this all-white cast, and it was so unrealistic because there were black folks all over in that area, but you never even saw them as extras.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another
true.
story.
Mhm.
Let's
That's
move
true.
on to the next. You're absolutely right. Let's move on to Mr. Buff. Mr. Buff's question, and here it is. You know, you do these compound questions. I love it. Here we go. Do you think LGBTQ rights are in danger of being taken away by this conservative political agenda? You know, particularly with the Supreme Court, what they did this week. So, what do you think about that?
I mean, yes, of course. At any time they can snatch wherever they want rights from us. That's the scary part of that's the scary part about it. And what should make it even more scary, that kind of stuff don't get published, don't get major news like other topics do.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I say, we have to learn it from like Twitter or Facebook, sadly, to get our updates on that kind of stuff because they try to do it under the radar.
Yeah.
So to make sure there's no say. They don't want us to have any say.
Right.
That's why they're trying to be sneaky.
Yeah, and I say yes, and just formulating the question, and comes that leak from the Supreme Court, which is in part is been a blessing because
True.
it has let us know the truth. You know, the truth that a lot of people knew, that what was the consequences of allow somebody who impersonate a president for 4 years and all the damage it has
Yeah.
caused
Right.
just for this, if I could say, hunger of power.
Right.
Because I don't see conservatives right now, I don't see that they care about the life of people. What they care is to have the power. And how much do they have the power to put three people there in the Supreme Court, and they already had that agenda that they got to take away whatever advance we have done in life with several groups. And I said it is include the LGBT community and the same-sex marriage.
You know what? You're absolutely right. What bothers me is that people don't understand that this whole, Roe versus Wade is going to be knocked down. It definitely will be.
Yes.
But what people don't seem to understand is that it's so much more than about losing abortion rights. It's losing freedom,
Right.
because they're going to come after gay rights. They're going to keep coming at voting rights. So what people need to understand, that this is about stripping away your freedom to control yourself, to have agency, to control yourself. And another thing I was saying, then Hartsel, you can take it away, is what really irks me is that people talk about, well, we can't pack the Supreme Court. There's nothing in the Constitution that says there should only be 9 Supreme Court justices. The Supreme Court right now does not reflect the will of all of the people, or the majority of the people. We need to get 50. We need to get 50 Supreme Court justices in there, because there's nothing in the Constitution that says it's only supposed to be 9.
Right. Right.
Right.
And it seems like this was a good issue for them to start with, to start to unravel and undo things. They couldn't start with gay stuff because it's too soon, and they don't want to draw any attention to themselves. But if they start with this, then they can just slowly undo and undo and undo and undo. And then here's this thing too that's really odd to me, that these conservative folks, when you really look at them, they're not really that conservative. Let's talk about Matthew Cawthorn. I think that's how he says his name.
Oh, roller derby boy.
Yeah, does that seem conservative?
Yeah, roller derby boy, North Carolina.
Yeah, that sounds like conservative to me.
No, they have the mentality, we can do it, but y'all can't do it.
Right.
We like Buff says, we got the power, we can do it, but we just don't want y'all to do it.
Right.
But at the same time, they've been doing this. They've been doing it under the radar. But ever since Trump got in office and they realized how much of a fan base they really have, they out loud and proud now.
He just opened the door for the asylum.
Most of the stuff you would get shunned for, now they're getting praised for.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what kills me is the Democrats. Like Bill Maher, the comedian, he says, and I agree with him, when you're going to a gunfight, you don't take a knife with you.
Right.
The Democrats need to get off their asses and be more assertive and more aggressive, have some type of coherent message. Because one thing about the Republicans, even though they know they're wrong, they just keep going at it, at it. Right. But the Democrats are like, oh, well, we'll forgive them. We'll it's okay. They'll come around. They'll be good people.
Look, that's why, sorry, Michelle Obama, but we go, they go low, we go high. No, they go low, we go to,
no.
I ain't gonna say the word because we can't cook, but
they go low,
you got to go lower.
Right.
You got to hit bottom.
We're going to the gutter. That's what I'm about to, I say that.
And
I said, this is war.
Yeah,
let's be honest. This is war.
This is a war against people, and it started when you see a conservative group, supporting an immoral person as president of this nation. It says a lot.
Right.
it says a
Right.
lot.
I
because
want
it.
to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
And I always said to the people and said, you're not gonna see immediately the damage, because right now we are seeing the damages that was caused by the Reagan administration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is gonna be something that no one of us is gonna see recover
Right.
at all.
I totally agree with you.
I want to see a one or a good handful of angry Democrats. Where is the anger? Where is the righteous indignation? Where is the fervor? Where is the fire?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's and what about these ones that are elected that we don't even know who they are? Where are you? What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, Republicans have commercials left and right, up and down. Every time you go to a YouTube channel, there they go.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to have the same vigor, actually
Right.
more.
More.
And they repeat the same lies right now
Right.
here in New York State, that they have in going in primary for governor. They have these two persons that is the same message about uh, cashless fine or something like that. And even one of them got the audacity to use images of the Louis Vuitton raid that was in California as if it was in New York City, and it wasn't.
You know, they're total dirty tricksters.
Yes.
Here's our last issue, gentlemen. Okay. Let's say you and your partner, you commit to monogamy from the very beginning. But after a few years, your partner gets kind of squirrely. He wants something different. So he wants to bring a person into the relationship and make it a throuple. And you don't want that. What do you do? Anybody can jump in first.
Well, first off, that's a conversation.
Yes, it is.
Why have you been thinking about that for a while, or you just thought about that now? Is it anything I'm doing? Like, do we need therapy? Those kind of questions you have to ask, because like, where is that coming from?
Are you not waxing my thing correctly?
Right.
Are you not getting right? Are you not spit? You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Yeah. If it's that way, yes, I agree that you have to wait the question, say, why this time? What did I do wrong? Or what I'm doing right? Do you think we should have therapy? Or is something that you've been hiding all the time, I mean, and now you're gonna flourish it, it's gonna happen like that. In my case, it happened the other way. We started as an open relationship, and now we're not that open at all. We have our limitation, mostly now that we are in a marriage. But those are things that got to be spoken from the beginning. But at one point, that means that something is going on, and who knows if that is not gonna last.
Right.
Okay, well, Tancredo, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me ask you, being an adult entertainer, how does that go over with your partner?
Well, first of all, when I got into this and I knew I was going into, and first I have to speak to him and say what was my intention to do it and why. And after a very nice conversation, he said, okay, you go and do it, because I told him this is a job. And I say it and I repeat it. It's a job. It's not that I'm going to go in there and have fun. No, yes, I will have fun, but I'm making money. But I try to make fun to somebody who's gonna be watching.
The Benjamins,
the
Benjamins.
All right.
Okay, Hartsel, what do you have to say about this? Look like you're chomping at the bit. Come on.
Wow. There was a time when I was that monogamous and it's only you and me. And if you cheat, then of course I'm heartbroken. But I've grown to the point where I don't want to deny my beloved something that they want, because I don't want them to begin to harbor ill feelings toward me because I'm trying to withhold something from them.
Mm.
But if they want to do that, is it okay for me to as well?
Well,
Oh.
like I said, that goes back to communication.
Right.
Yes.
That's the baseline of any relationship really is communication.
Right.
James, you're absolutely right, but you have a lot of men that's just not their strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
They expect you to read their mind. And I tell my person, look, I'm not Karnak. I'm not like this. I can't read your thoughts.
Yeah.
So, and that you're right. We just have men have such a problem with communication. What do you think about that, everybody?
I mean, well, most of the time you can tell that up front. That's the dating period is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Talking and get to know each other.
Right.
After a couple of dates, if I don't know anything about you, or you're not communicating properly, I'm like, okay, we had a good time, but I don't think it's gonna work out.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be communication. In my experience, from the beginning, he told me there's things that I would like to experience, and that's the only way that I agree. Yeah, yes, and there are things that he likes to do that I am not really into it, and still, I try to support. I've been very supportive of that, and so far it have lasted. We've been together for almost 20 years.
Oh.
So wait a minute. Are you talking about not into it sexually?
Well, we have been sexual. There are things sexually that I'm not into it very well, or I'm not really have the ability or the skills, and he has it. And there are things that he's not really skilled that I like it, but we communicate about that, and that's a thing. And so far we have been together, and everything's fantastic. Not perfect, but fantastic.
I mean, like if you like being choked, don't be telling me 20 years down the line then you want to get divorced because you said you never choked me. Well, you never told me that.
Right.
You know what, James? You're absolutely right.
Let me say this too. At the same time, reversing that, we need to have a safe space for people to communicate as well.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because if a person don't see you as a safe space, they won't say nothing to you.
Right.
Yes.
Choke.
Right.
Okay. Okay. That's a good note to end this conversation. Before we get out of here, I want each one of you guys to please tell our listeners what you're doing for the rest of the year, your projects, appearances, etc. So I'm going to start with Mr. Hartsel Shirley.
Okay, so next week, I think it's going to be next week, I'm going to debut my very, very, very first music video, which I'm so excited about. I'm really, really, really excited about it. So excited. And the video is gorgeous. And I might do 2 videos. So I'll probably do 2. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do 2. They're gorgeous videos. My producer actually did them himself. And it's for my upcoming CD, which is called A Place for Us, which I dedicate to Nigel Shelby. If you all remember, he was the young 14-year-old child in Alabama who killed himself because he was being ostracized because of being gay. But the whole project is dedicated to him. The project, I think, is absolutely smooth. It's wonderful. It's probably one of it is my most unapologetic project. I don't move away from saying gay. As a matter of fact, in one song, I say, I'm in love with you, man. And that's not my buddy. I'm in love with you, man. And then in the last song, which is called "You Should Be Here Tonight," the inspiration for that one was actually Billy Strayhorn and his lover, Aaron Bridger, from back in the day, as well as County Cullen and Harold Jackman, which I wrote about in Heartstrings. And just imagining what their romance was like, how it began. And so I reference the Nicholas brothers because of the Harlem Renaissance time, as well as mentioning County Cullen and Harold Jackman, and the whole idea of what it might have been like when they met, when they knew that they were going to be lovers, that the magnetism was there and they could not resist it. So that.
Oh,
yes.
No, please finish.
So that's what's coming up. The CD will be out late May, early June.
Okay.
But the first two songs will be in video next week.
Okay.
Okay. So again, what's the name of the project?
The project is called A Place for Us.
And you can find Hartsel's column, Heartstrings, at WyattEvans.com.
All right.
We need your social media, my brother.
Oh, you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Hartsel C. Shirley. If you look up Hartsel C. Shirley, you'll find me somewhere in there because I've written enough that you might click something here, you'll reach me some kind of way. But or you can just look at WyattEvans.com and look up Heartstrings, and you'll find me. Get me there too.
And James Butler.
Well, of course I got a lot of interviews coming up in the future for my website. I'm trying to get back into making Bear Talk episodes, which I haven't done in 3 years.
Come on now.
Me and Ali trying to start a project. I can't say right now, but it will be something that needs to be done. I'll say that. And if you want to reach my social media, just go to thebearsnetwork.com, and I got all my social medias on there. So easy, so simple. Just click and go.
All right. Well, Mr. Tancredo Buff, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm alternated with my regular job, which is very important. I'm the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So
sexy.
Yes.
Go ahead.
But on the other side, first I've been promoting the recent scene that I did with my friends Tony Cruz and AG Blue at the Just for Fan page of Tony Cruz. Fine for the home play. That was a very interesting project that we did improvise one night in January.
Okay.
And it became something very, very particularly hot.
Okay.
And also there is an upcoming production that I've been doing for Lux Studio, the new studio by J.D. Daniels. And that it will be later in the summer. And also, there's another project that is still pending, looking for more information. This is going to lead me to New York City in a time in the future. Otherwise, you can find me here. I'm going to be marching during Pride Buffalo in the first weekend of June. Plus, you can find me, as usual, on Facebook. And Tancredo Buff. I have 2 accounts. I only accept in one of them. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram all the time. Mm-hmm. You can leave me a message. I can answer when it's possible. Be nice, be gentle, be sexy.
Basically saying he DMs it full of stuff. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I want to thank Mr. Tancredo Buff, Mr. James Butler, Mr. Hartsel Clifton Shirley for stopping by Wyatt. I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you for having having us here.
Having fun time.
Yeah.
So there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page on WyattEvans.com, which is the go-to destination for LGBTQ news, features, commentary, and entertainment. And WyattEvans.com is visited by more than 100 countries on the regular, y'all. People are dropping by, checking me out. And WyattEvans.com is where you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And y'all, the current installment is titled Frenzy! I said Frenzy. And Frenzy is just chock full of just steamy masculine romance, intrigue, action, danger, y'all. I'm talking danger. And helpings of erotic passion and steamy nastiness. And then there's its predecessor entitled Rage, all at WyattEvans.com. And my listeners, get ready for the next chapter in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. It's titled Delirium. I said Delirium. And it's gonna drop later this year. Now, if you want to be a guest on Wyatt, or you just have comments, email me at wyattonair@gmail.com. And you can follow me, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, your host, on Facebook.com/Wyatt O'Brien Evans, on Twitter at Mr. Woe, MISTERWOE, and on Instagram at Sir.WyattOfficial. Yeah. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof.